I've got my notes in hand, and I'm ready to talk about Picard, Episode 9. Hey there, everybody, this is Tom with Tom's Tech Show, and today I am talking Picard, Episode 9, and I've got my notes and everything from the episode, and again, I get confused and dismayed and disappointed and everything else. I mean, the whole theme of the series so far seems to be how many ways can we accomplish and complete genocide. So early on, of course, the Federation gave up on the Romulans, and basically genocide for half the Romulan population. Then there was an incident on Mars where everyone on Mars was destroyed, genocide. Then, in a few episodes back, we opened the airlock in the Borg ship, released all of the Borg there, so more genocide. So this episode is, again, let's continue with genocide. Let's just, I don't like these people. They don't agree with me, so I think we need to kill them all. Sounds a lot like our current political climate, but, maybe that's what they're going on. Maybe that's their true intention of the whole thing, is a political statement that one side wants to kill the other side because they don't agree with them instead of being able to sit down and talk and discuss things. Seems to be a theme. Well, this episode is titled "Et in Arcadia Ego," so I had to go. Okay, now we need to. This is a weird title, so now we need to go and look up what this is and what is going on and blah blah blah, all that stuff, right? So, "Et in Arcadia Ego," Art in Arcadia Ego is known as Les Bergers d'Arcadie, or the Arcadian Shepherds, which is a 1637-1638 painting by Nicolas Poussin, a leading painter in the French classic Baroque style. So the translation is, "Even in Arcadia, there I am." And some of the commentary here, the usual interpretation is that I, which refers to death, and Arcadia means a utopian land. So kind of like a death and heaven kind of thing is what I'm looking at. There was also another artist who also did a different one. Painting shows two young shepherds and a skull with a mouse and a blowfly placed with the words "Et in Arcadia Ego." I too was in Arcadia, also was in Arcadia. So it's kind of from this artwork and stuff about death, afterlife kind of thing. So that's or arriving at utopia or getting to utopia. So that's maybe that's Soji getting to her utopia where she's supposed to be in the end of this whole thing, this home that she's been looking for, and all of that. I don't know. It gets a little crazy here and there, but so we of course start the whole thing with them flying through the transwarp conduit deal and getting towards the planet. They finally find the planet. The planet sends out the Borg ship arrives shortly after. The Romulan Narek arrives in his ship shortly after. So then they end up being captured by these little flower creatures that come out. I mean, they look a little bit like Stranger Things creatures, a little bit, but they're like, what do they call them? Lilies or daffodils, who knows, just some kind of flower that comes up and attacks them and drags them, shuts their power off, drags them down to the surface. So once on the surface, we end up going and looking for we have to have this event here where Picard is knocked out when they're going down to the surface. And through that, Dr. Girardi does a scan of him and finds out that he's got this brain abnormality. And so that way, now the whole ship needs to know that he has the brain abnormality. So why couldn't he just say, from the beginning, kind of, I got this brain issue, it's been there forever and it's getting worse, blah, 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 something else. But no, we have to have an event where he passes out, he gets scanned, and now then everybody knows, blah, 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 that he's got this brain problem. Okay. So when he gives them the lecture, yes, I have a problem. Yes, it's fine. Don't treat me like anything else. Okay, fine, let's go. So then they get out of the ship and they start heading off, and they have just some discussions about it, and they head off to... The one thing that was kind of good was they did have a kind of a round table here where they're all standing around. They all have a little bit of information, and Picard's acting captain-like. So he's like, what's my status and what's the situation? Give me the particulars. What do we need to do? Where do we need to go? What's all this information? So he does that, which is actually him being kind of Picard-like for once in this whole thing. So they head out and they do find the Borg ship pretty quickly, and thinking that everybody there is going to be dead. They're not. We meet with the most insignificant character in this whole show. You could have, this Elnor Elf thing, there is no reason for him to be in the show at all. I don't know what box they're trying to check, what they're trying to tick off, say we need one of these in the show. I have no idea. He does nothing. They leave him behind. The other episode where they're trying to get off the Borg cube didn't need him to do anything. They left before any of the soldiers got there. So no need for him there. No need for him here. They just leave him behind. The other places where he just like randomly kills people because, I don't know. If he's playing like the young, naive person, he's playing a character that is not needed in the show at all. Take him out and spend the time building up other parts of the story, right? You're wasting screen time by having a character that does nothing. So, crazy writers of everything. So we've got the 218 Romulan warbirds that are headed there. So they've got to somehow, fight against them. They head off and keep walking, and then they find the little commune of other androids down here. It looks more like a summer, somebody's luxury resort somewhere than a laboratory or a compound or anything else like that they were talking about. And they walk halfway through this place and like nobody notices. It's like if you're a compound of like 50 androids who are, computers, but, able to be aware of things more than a person because you have sensors and everything else. They walk halfway through the place and nobody really notices. Oh, okay. No one's ever walked through here before in the last, 50 years, but, there's people here. We'll just ignore them. Kind of crazy. So we meet up with some of the other ones, and we find out there's more duplicates of Soji, one that's called Sutra. So we got Soji and Sutra. And then we meet up with this is Alton Inigo Sung, who is supposedly Dr. Nunyan Sung's son, where I don't know. So I think we're breaking kind of timeline somewhere. I don't know where in the timeline we had the ability for Dr. Sung to either find a woman or anything else. He was bouncing around from different planets, all the time. So I don't know where he came from or how they got back together. That's not explained. There's also a kind of lingering theory that maybe this is actually Lore, who has aged himself, and that's why he's able to, be there with all of the androids and be amongst them and be able to create them as he wants and everything else. But anyway, so that goes on. We do eventually, let's see, we catch up with, they say, okay, so we need to find out what's going on. So the Sutra android says, here, I read a book, let me mind meld with you. Okay, so now we have an android who, I would think it's like for a Vulcan, it'd be like their soul connecting to the other person, kind of, an extension of that, that the electronics, there's electricity in our bodies that we're used to. I'm trying to explain something that exists in science fiction, but to have this kind of make sense. But anyway, so how does this android, synthetic as they call it, it's an android, how does she know by reading a book, who has never tried it on anybody, now suddenly know, oh, let me read what's in your mind. The message that you were given may not be for you, it may be for us, the androids, and maybe I can figure it out. So, take a plot point out of nowhere that androids can now do mind melds and throw it in there. Let's make that up on the way, and then boom, there we go. So she does find out, they go through the whole kind of thing about that, and she does find out that, oh, that's interesting. We go to Dr. Sung, who is actually making a kind of android so that he can place his consciousness, I guess, which kind of breaks him being the whole lore thing, but putting his consciousness into an android, trying to transfer that, do that. They tried to do that. They did that in one of the Next Generation episodes. I forget which doctor was. There was one, Dr. Ezra something. I don't know. Anyway, they did that in a Next Generation episode, and it didn't go well because he couldn't handle the strength and everything of the android of Data, because he put himself into Data. So that's kind of been done, so I don't know why they're still figuring it out here. They're trying to do this and figure this out. So we do get the Narek captured inside of the compound, and one of the Sutra decides to let him go. If you see what happens after she lets him go, I don't know that it makes sense, but so she decides to let him go, and through that, one of the other androids gets stabbed in the eye, and their eye gets all ripped out and destroyed, and Dr. Sung is very upset about it. But the big punchline is coming, so we get to the point where Picard is saying, let's all go. We can take all of the synthetics with us. We can just leave. And then Soji comes out. That's where she's letting Narek go. Soji comes out and she says, oh, by the way, the message that was given was for us. And instead of being nice to you, now we're going to kill everybody. Again, genocide. So anybody that doesn't agree with us, we're just going to kill us. Now we're now back down to genocide. We're back down to completely unreasonableness. There's absolutes. It's like, why do we always have to go, oh, I don't agree with that. Here, let me kill you in this show. So that's kind of where we are. We get to the point where they're all arguing. They take Picard. They arrest him. The other Dr. Cry-a-Lot, Girardi, she explains, no, I'm very sympathetic to you now. Even though I killed Bruce Maddox, I've had a change of heart. Now I'm going to be nice to you because I'm helping Dr. Sung. So blah, blah, blah. She's not put in prison. So, and now we've got tons of Romulan ships heading towards the planet, and boom, a battle is going to ensue. They're going to, all the little flowers are going to come up and try and fight them, and everything else. And it just, the switching of sides, like, okay, we don't have this information that they have, this awakenings, the admonition, I guess is what they call it, right? That information just seems to continue to destroy things as it goes along. Whoever gets and sees and sees the admonition, suddenly they go crazy. They start killing people. They take what they think and what they know, the androids, synthetics, whatever you want to call them, who were nice and accepting of Picard and the others in the beginning, having great, talking about what was going on, and that they're there to save, Picard is there to save them and to help them and everything else. Suddenly, Sutra finds out the admonition. Now she's 100% turned around and she wants to kill everybody. So that plot point is a little bit, it's contrived. I mean, the whole thing is a story, right? But it's very contrived in that anybody who has this information suddenly has to go on a murder spree. So Dr. Jurati has to go kill people. The Romulans that know about it have to go kill them and complete, and do that. Why? What else? I mean, they're saying that there is, the other part of the plot point is that there is some external synthetic beings that are out there that are waiting to be summoned by the synthetics that Dr. Sung has. That all they have to do is somehow call to them, and boom, then there will be a gigantic army of synthetics, and they will destroy all life in the universe except for the synthetics. So, I mean, that's a little bit Identity Part 1 and Part 2 of the Orville, where those machine people were going to kill everybody in the universe, but they were fought back. So I don't know, the Kalon, is this kind of a same situation? It's, the action and intent and storyline of the Orville was much better. It actually made kind of sense and didn't have any foul language and all of that, and wasn't so bent on everybody committing genocide, right? So anyway, that's the end of this episode. So then we're going to move on to the Part 2, which will be the end of the season. And it gets very long. I mean, there were a few small parts where I thought, okay, that's kind of Picardish, right? That's like he's gathering information. He's doing like his, get everybody around the table. Let's get reports from everybody's situation and see what we need to do next and move on to do the next thing. And then we just like visited the Borg cube and had, what's his name? Elron or whatever. Gosh, I wish they would not have his character in there because it's so pointless. And almost 7 of 9's characters almost not needed at this point. I mean, other than they have the big Borg cube crashed on the planet and we don't know what's going on with that. And that will have to somehow play into all of this. But I'm sure that, they're going to try and wrap it all up at the end of the next episode because that's the end of the season. But we already have a season 2. So I don't know if they're going to extend this to season 2 or start a new story on season 2. I don't know. I'm hoping they'll start a new story because this one's getting to be a little bit painful and a little bit homicidal. So, all right. Well, that's kind of my thoughts and different things about Picard. You want something to be so good and to make sense and be like Star Trek, but this is just not. It is just not Star Trek that I know. So anyway, if you have any more ideas or want to talk about it some more, just post your comments down below and I'll respond to them. Thanks for watching this show. And we'll catch you later. Stay safe. Take care.